We're back with more Pretty Little Liars. Tonight we're discussing Season 7, Episode 14, Power Play. So much to unpack in this episode. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Got a secret.
Oh, I forgot about it. I was ready to like smile at the camera.
Better lock it in your pocket, taking this one to the grave. If I show you, then I'll know you won't tell what I said.
'Cause two can keep a secret.
Okay,
if one
that was a little
of them is
premature, but I'll let it go because
No.
your vocals sounded stunning.
Oh, thank you.
We're getting good at this. It's only taken us so
No.
many seasons.
Dakota's good at it.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, but we are so excited to be back talking about Pretty Little Liars. I'm Stephanie Wenger, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stephanie Wenger.
What is up, you guys? It's Dakota T Jones, and you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Mr. Dakota T Jones. That's Mr. Dakota T Jones.
That was lovely.
Thank you.
And I'm Hannah Prichard. You all can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Hot Chat Dude.
I mean, I know. And Kristen will, of course, be back with us next week as well. Let's jump into what was teased so much going into this episode, which, of course, is the big reveal of who killed Jessica.
Which was
Yeah.
not that surprising, to
I
be
have
honest.
to say, like...
Yeah, and wasn't the biggest reveal to me in this episode.
It absolutely wasn't. We have way bigger reveals and things that I'd like to say we predicted on the show. Lots of things happened tonight that we've predicted for a long time. But I felt like the marketing of this was very strange in that like they marketed it as like that was going to be the thing that we got in the final 5 minutes.
This is what they did. Next week on Pretty Little Liars, who killed Mary Drake?
No, it
you know what
wasn't
I
Mary
mean?
Drake, though. It was Jessica.
Or no, who killed Jessica? But it's like, who cares? They're twins. Like we know they were both pretty much evil. Like.
Right. And so, but I found it interesting, so obviously Mary Drake killed Jessica at this point, or at least that's what Spencer's dad is
Mr.
claiming.
Hastings is saying.
And I'm fine with that. I would like them to just keep it as that. I don't need all the twists and turns this far into this series. Like, I'm ready for everything to just be, like, solid answers and figure things out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No more teasing.
Right, which actually made me enjoy this episode more than a lot in a while, basically, because, like, we got answers, or it seemed like we were going somewhere finally. Like, I was like, yes, we're not messing with us anymore.
I had the opposite reaction to this
Really?
episode. I enjoyed the episode, don't get me wrong, but it made me have 18,000 more questions, and I started to wonder how in these... We're now to final 6 episodes, if you will.
Yes.
Like, how are you going to answer all of this? Like, we're in such a twisted web at this point. I don't see how you can, like, undo what you've done at this point. I'm sure they have a plan. I trust the Pretty Little Liars writers, but
So one of our people at AfterBuzz, Becca B Talks TV, she just sent me this photo of her and Ian Harding tonight at the Grove, and I'm really mad and jealous.
I mean, that's adorable, and we will talk about why he is at the Grove in our news and gossip. But let's get back to the episode and talk about how this reveal. So Spencer's still upset at her dad, which, like, rightfully so at this point.
Right.
And then I just don't think I trust him anymore at all.
I mean, granted, I never really felt like I trusted her dad.
Yeah.
But I trusted him actually more in this episode, the fact that some truth was coming out. But I loved that he was like, you may hate me, but let me protect you. Like, I don't want anything like that to happen to you again, like, meaning the dollhouse. And I'm like, but you let it happen once. Like, knowing why she may be in the dollhouse or who may have sent her to the dollhouse. And yet you did nothing and let those 4 girls just be in there. You know what I mean? And like all of that information, like, he could have presented a long time ago to the police when everything was happening to those girls, and could have potentially saved them or helped them, and didn't. And I'm like, yeah, good parenting.
Yeah.
Yes, she's absolutely going to trust you, Daddy.
No, I mean, exactly. At this point, none of these girls should be trusting anyone. And we'll talk about some of the, like, I kept in the episode, I felt like such a mom. I was like, ooh, she should not be getting in that car. Like, it was like I was like, oh, I've become that person now. But you've been watching the show so long, or at least I feel this way. Like, you're like, oh no, that's a bad move. And like, I want them to learn these lessons, especially as the show wraps up.
Oh, they're never going to, though.
Yeah.
You know what? Someone in the chat was saying something about how they feel like they're getting they're getting some answers, but like it's pretty much things that we've already figured out. So now they're kind of taunting us, and we're not getting. I guess we are getting answers, and we're just being ungrateful. But like I feel like we need more key answers within the next few episodes because things are coming down to the wire, and like I don't want to know who AD is on a last episode.
Agreed.
Like 5 minutes before the show ends, and then I need time. I need
believe
answers.
fans in the chat have said that we will know, and I believe I've read news and gossip that we'll know going into that final episode. And I don't know if that means at the beginning of what's supposed to be a 2-hour episode or it will be at the
Right.
I'm a little unclear exactly, but it will not be apparently in that last 5 minutes.
But
Can you
I
imagine?
I actually feel like we got a lot of answers in tonight's episode. I'm like, now really the only thing left that we need to know is who AD is. To me, I'm like, we actually got all of the other answers. We now know who killed Jessica De Laurentiis.
I wasn't worried about it.
We now know that Sydney's involved, but we know she's not AD, but we know that she's being conned in some way.
Right.
We now know for certain that, it's Emily's baby. Like
I don't disagree with you. I felt like in some ways tonight I was like, oh, these are answers, but they're not the answers I'm like craving. For
Yeah.
lack
I
of a
disagree
better.
with you, but we just think you're wrong.
Yeah.
we just think there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
Are you fulfilled?
I was fulfilled for once, and I feel
Really?
like if Chris, I was. There was actually a hot moment there where I was like, you know what? I'm returning to my feelings in the first couple seasons for a moment, and it's been a long time.
That was me last week.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
So that's interesting. I'm interested to see where it goes now that we're going to have this final 6. But let's talk about Hannah's search and kind of confrontation with Pastor Ted.
Ted.
Good old Pastor Ted.
He comes back. Everybody's coming back.
You know what? I miss Ted. I always liked Ted.
Yeah.
You know what though? The first thing I realized whenever she's like, "Oh my gosh, Pastor Ted," I'm like, okay. Last time we talked to you, you were engaged to Ashley Marin. So like,
Yeah.
what's going on? Like, you're not obviously together. And then she's saying, "Well, what's your contact?" And we'll maybe meet for coffee with my mom. And it's like, okay, what happened?
Yeah, I don't remember what did happen between them.
I don't think that we know.
I don't think there's been like a concrete answer to that. And chat, if I'm wrong, let us know.
Or why do I feel like I know that she broke up with Ted like 1 or 2 times before
Yeah, I
the
mean, they
engagement.
always had like a
Right.
up and down sort of
Yeah.
relationship. I don't remember them having like a true breakup scene though.
Jasmine
don't
Jones just
remember.
said we still don't even know who killed Cece. Is that true? Like, we still really don't know. I'm guessing AD killed Cece.
I don't know because I don't even care about Cece's storyline anymore. I'm still so pissed that was that reveal that I'm like, good riddance. Move away from it. Let's move on to the other things.
Which brings us
Dumb.
to
Irrelevant.
Pastor Ted lying to Hannah about, I guess knowing Mary and
Mary.
she was staying at his home.
Oh my gosh, okay, I have to be thankful for a second. We did get the reveal that Cece's dad was Pastor Ted and that she knew, or that he knew her because he also went to the camp, and then Lucas was the other kid, and so we get
Okay, so that's what I was just about to
I'm sorry.
get into. No, it's all good.
I'm taking over.
I know all of us are like, we got this, we got that, we got this, and we got that, and then
I'm glad
are
you
we supposed
did.
to discuss it?
No, I was just like I just feel like this is what I wanted to kind of get into was this idea of Cece. They finally figure out that of course Pastor Ted had this not relationship, but like knew Lucas and Cece at camp, and so what do we think about Lucas? This brings me to my like still going on this that Lucas could be all of this.
Yeah, and we've all kind of always thought that, and honestly, I would be fine with that because I think Lucas is a character that we've all thought is possible to be AD or be behind all of this, but we've all still loved Lucas. So I think it would still be a satisfying enough reveal because even though everybody's still been like, Lucas could be it, everybody's still like, but I like Lucas. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not, there's never been like a hatred towards Lucas where I think people would be disappointed if it ended up being him because we'd all be like, oh yeah, well, we already hated him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think he would be somebody who he's been around, so it wouldn't be like somebody who you're like, oh, he's never here. Like, how did you do that? Like, he's been around enough. He's like been in the shadows of this show for so many seasons,
right?
And in some ways, that makes him the perfect candidate
because
he like could never truly get into the inner circle the way that he wanted. And if we think back, Allison and all of this was like, they were like the popular girls in high school.
Right.
And
the only thing that would be sad or embarrassing of that reveal is that these girls the entire time, Lucas has been such an obvious choice considering he's like set up so many things for them, but then like been in the background and not been around or like in their face when AD has been doing things. So it would just kind of be a reveal to be like, yeah, y'all 4 girls have been idiots.
But he's kind of been like the innocent one around them. Like, of course I'll help you. Like there's no reason to like make him a suspect other than like
he's a suspect.
Yeah, he's like I don't know. Like I don't know why. Because for a long time he seemed innocent, and I think that that's how the girls view him. And then in these final few episodes, I've started to really weirdly point a finger at him.
Everyone in the chat, like Beat 3 Airspace, is saying they've never seen Lucas's mom and that they think maybe Lucas is also Mary Drake's child. And if so, they were talking about how Mary Drake got around. Girl, even if Lucas wasn't with, had her mom, Mary Drake's been around the time or two. She's everyone's mom these days.
Yeah. Those De Laurentiis twins, they were like everywhere. Or I guess Drake twins, because De Laurentiis would be the married name, whatever.
Yeah. They were all over the place.
I don't know. It's an interesting thought of how he kind of plays into this larger story, and also this multi-generational idea that we've talked about for years on this show. That there could be a real parental or adult involvement. And I know they are adults now with the 5-year gap, but this older generation, if you will.
Maybe it could just stand for another Drake.
Yeah.
Okay, Jose Ortiz says he's an app developer. Lots of money. Need I say more?
Yeah.
Exactly. He would have the money. Well, I mean, you stole eggs, so you don't really need to pay for them. But like to do all these procedures and everything, like you have money, and who better to do the procedure than Ren? And he's coming back next week.
Yeah, and that board game with like Lucas being impossible, like a board game made that app. You know what I mean? Like obviously. Like, that would be a very obvious thing. Somebody would have to know how to build an app like that to create that board game.
Which brings us to so much baby drama tonight. Of course, it was Allison's turn, and she had to go, and I found this heartbreaking. So she had made the decision to terminate her pregnancy, and then the AD forced her, and this was the part that I found so sad, was like to go to the baby store.
Yeah, that's awful.
It just felt terrible.
Agreed.
And so she has to walk around this baby store and register for items, which is just, it felt cruel. And like one of the most cruel things, like there's been torture that AD has obviously done to these girls, but that felt particularly like weirdly cruel to me.
I agree. Cruel, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I know that they haven't decided if they're keeping it or not, but I mean, I know that it comes from like a very messed up place and everything, and I know that there's a lot that goes into it that she doesn't want to be reminded of, AD or, what's his name? The guy that died, we see his finger.
Oh,
I always forget his name.
Archer
Dunhill. So we see that it's a messed up situation, but I was like, knowing that it was Emily's eggs, I was like, okay, like please keep the baby, like. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Because I'm a team Emily and Allison. Like I have been. Yeah. I don't care what anybody says.
I mean, they're like very sweet together, but.
I mean, like I wouldn't say sweet, but like I just like want them to be together.
Okay.
Well,
I didn't have a drink to sip. I was gonna grab my drink and sip.
Their sexual confusion all started with each other, so I'd like it to go back to them.
I don't know though. I just felt like this egg donor this is something that we've talked about on the show for a long time.
Kristen would have been like just losing it. Finding it out, I was like, Kristen, why would you not be here tonight?
Oh my gosh, we should call her and tell her and see what she says.
This is what she's been waiting for. She's been pushing this shiz for seasons.
Would she be mad? Would she be mad?
No.
Yes.
If we told her?
No, she'd be mad she didn't get to relish in this moment on this after show.
I was going to say, because she's the one who has been pushing this for a long time, and I think got everybody on board.
For the baby to be Emily's?
Yeah, that it would be Emily's baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that Emily would be the egg donor, or the eggs were Emily's. I don't know that it's actually an egg donor if they're stolen eggs. That's a
Right. Right.
that's a dicey territory to get into. But and then this brings me to one of my big questions of the episode, which is, who is the father then?
Who the daddy?
That's a great question because I don't really understand that because you still gotta put some like sperm in that egg.
Yeah, so there is a father.
Legit, though.
There's a father. Is it Archer? Are we still going back to that? Is there somebody else? Who
Is it Ezra? I'm kidding. I just threw that name out there.
I don't know.
I don't think it's
I mean,
Ezra.
who knows? What if one of the guys, was like, you know what? I'm running low on money. Like, I need to get some money. So the quickest thing to do was to.
I don't know. Maybe Ren. It's a way to bring
I
him
don't
back
know.
into it all.
Or maybe it is Archer's. Or maybe it's Lucas's. That'd be kind
Well,
of
like,
Ooh, that'd be weird.
is there anyone
Probably Daddy's.
who like was in love with
Like-
Emily and like didn't get his opportunity? Like,
I don't know. I was trying to think that too, but I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Like Toby used to really like her, but that's not. I don't think that'd be a thing.
No,
No.
that's a really
I mean,
weird.
he's
Like, that's
already
a
got Yvonne
weird.
and-
That's a weird Pretty Little Liars twist. right
Exactly.
there.
They've already got a lot of like incest kind of feeling situations going on in the show. I'm like, please don't convolute
Somebody
it more.
says maybe the father is AD in our chat. That's a real possibility.
Right, which would be like
Lucas.
Lucas, though. I mean, assuming Lucas is it.
Yeah.
And Brian says that we'll find out who the father is. Probably AD. It's not Archer for sure. I wonder why you think that.
Ben? Who's Ben?
Who's Ben?
I don't know. I remember Ben.
Was he like an old boyfriend? Oh wait, was he Emily's boyfriend a long time ago?
I think so. When the show first started.
Yeah, man. If that's him, he
Whoa.
needs to get a life. He's been out of.
That
Ben
was
Coogan? Sorry, I feel like this
You were,
mic
like,
is like
yelling.
really intense tonight. Sorry,
Ben?
guys.
Coogan? Who that?
That's the
ex-boyfriend
that's
Ben.
the
Yeah, okay.
ex-boyfriend.
I didn't
We're
know
really
that.
into your all's
Okay,
chat if you can't tell.
Wes, I'm pretty impressed you remembered his last name. Just gonna say.
Yeah. So let's talk about. Do you think? So they're still deciding whether or not she's going to go through with this abortion, and I think that's going to play out in the next few episodes here. But do you think Emily wants to raise this baby now if she thinks that it's hers with Alice?
I don't know what they just said, but I'm going to ignore his face for a second.
Yeah, I want to
I'm going to
continue.
ignore it for a second because I don't know, because that's tough. Because of course, which granted I'm not a fan of her and Paige, but of course once they have a big Paige moment is right when she's going to find out that Allison's pregnant with her baby.
Yeah.
That's of course gonna.
And that's going to derail Paige because I think Paige finally finding out that Emily was consoling Allison because she was pregnant made her be like, oh, there's not something going on with her and Allison. Now I want to be with Emily again. And now this is going to happen. And Paige is going to be like, woo, no. God, stupid Mike. Sorry.
They
yeah.
said that, or Paul, I'm sorry, guys. Paul said that they think that Noel could be the father, and that could be a real possibility.
Who, what?
Someone said, or Paul said that Noel Kahn could have been the father.
Yeah, that's a true possibility as well. And I
mean-
could like support that. I'd be like, okay, that's fine.
Support that.
I wouldn't support it, but I'd be like, I would support that choice to just be
okay.
like, oh, okay, that one's fine.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting
Idea.
And
I'll
yeah.
just away from myself.
So yeah, I don't know how to feel about. I guess this whole like thought it was actually one of the sweetest parts of the episode was this Paige and Emily moment, and any
it was.
happiness that these girls have seems to get ripped away from them.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I mean, I'm not a fan of like Emily and Paige. Sorry, guys. But I will say that moment was extremely cute. And the song that they were playing, like, yes, it really like set the mood for me. And I was like, oh, this is lovely. Like riding bikes and it's cute and it's innocent.
It's just like so sweet. That like I thought it was a very well done moment, a very sweet moment between two.
Agreed.
And you know that I just said that I'm a big fan of Allison and yeah.
You guys.
Yeah.
Okay, I do want to say something. I know that I'm a little biased because Lindsay Shaw is one of my friends, but I do want to say that there's no denying the chemistry, for one. Two, a lot of, Lindsay and her fans and followers and Paley shippers have gotten a lot of hate, unnecessary hate from some of the fans of the show. People tell, Lindsay, go kill yourself or...
Whoa!
or, like,
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm not.
That's
Like
intense.
people are intense, and like a lot of people from the show don't comment on it. But tonight, Marlene King commented on it and said, "To the Emerson fans who are asking me to kill myself tonight,
Whoa.
you are hateful and do not represent the meaning of love is love. Shame on you."
Whoa,
And,
that's seriously been a thing?
that's
Like
been
a hate thing?
People
Yeah,
have told
it was
Lindsay,
a-
like, how many retweets for you to overdose? Like, kill
Whoa.
yourself. Like, they've been so mean to her.
Okay,
Y'all, that's
so
intense.
I'm just gonna say this that I think it's really fun to like ship a couple,
Right.
but like
Come
that's
on,
taking
guys.
it to a point when you're getting into like really hating on people, and like we've definitely had some commenters in the past that have not been so lovely to us. Like we get it.
Yeah.
It's not okay to be doing that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like a
Right.
TV show. Everybody cool.
Yeah.
Calm down.
And then another person at PLL thing, Allie, she says, this is how they have treated the Paley fandom, and worse than that, this is how Lindsay is treated since forever, and it sucks, huh? So now, like, Marlene King is just now commenting on this.
Wow.
And everyone, all the Paley shippers are like, see, now you understand how we feel. Like, this is not cool. Like,
yeah, and see, our commenters are great. They're like, this is so stupid. Like,
Yeah.
you calm down with the ships. Like, it is.
Y'all
Thank
are
you,
great.
guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love how our viewers are actually have their head on their shoulders. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
God bless
I
America.
mean, yeah.
Spread the love to all the
the
haters
love.
out there, you guys.
Yeah.
I get that you want a certain couple to be together. Sure.
Yeah, I
but,
mean,
like,
it's just like also logically the show it's fiction. Like
Yeah.
Get it
like
right here.
yeah, like focus on real life.
Yeah.
As I know we love the show too, but like sending
Whoa.
hate for it is not
Right,
is
and it's
not
like
the right
these are
call.
actors. Like these people are the ones who portray the characters. Like what any hate you're giving to them is honestly like a little messed up and doesn't even make sense because when you think about it, you're telling someone to kill themselves and they're not even that character. Like they're playing a character, guys. Like
We've
grow
gotten off
up.
on a
Yeah.
whole cyber bullying
Yeah, sorry,
tangent.
guys.
Seriously, though.
Sorry.
It's like, come on, guys.
But we need to get back to the show and talk about Aria's storyline tonight, which was pretty crazy. Aria, of course, we kind of start the episode with Nicole being back in her, I guess not being back, but coming to Rosewood, and she's dealing with the repercussions of that with Ezra, and they're going through a real rough patch.
Dude, Ezra coming home and Aria choosing to leave because Nicole's like sleeping in the bed. You know what I mean? She's like, I'm not taking the sofa tonight.
like,
That is painful. And obviously, like, yes, Ezra is in a weird position because he can't tell Nicole all of these things. And obviously, he's not going to kick Nicole out of the bed. But at the same time, like, Ezra, I hope that you were planning on sleeping on the couch as well. And not
if
like.
you're sleeping in the bed, that's just giving her false hope.
Right,
Yeah.
and I hate that he's never clarified any of that for Aria. Like, he's never in this time fully set Aria's mind at ease and reassured her that he's not going anywhere from her. Like,
Right.
I understand that it's been a difficult position, but he's never been like, babe, I love you. You know what
Until
I mean? This
tonight.
means nothing. But he even had to wait until after everything was worked out with Nicole. Like, in that moment, he didn't reassure Aria. He just let her go. And I was like, what the? I don't know. I didn't like it. I've had some issues with Ezra in these past episodes, and I really hope that they get it together because, like, you know, we gotta like be excited about their wedding.
I
Yeah,
know, and they said that they found. I mean, she found the wedding dress in the closet and has seen Aria's photos all over the apartment. So I'm like, thank God, like this girl gets it. Like she sees
But
now.
does
and
she?
But she talked to Ezra about it a little bit, and she says she wants him to be happy. Whether or not I believe that, I don't know.
But that's the thing is, okay, that is what Ezra is telling
Right.
Aria. Like, we don't actually know what Nicole knows or doesn't know at this point. He is trying his full out to protect his relationship
Yeah.
with Aria. And I love them as a couple, but tonight I felt like he was being a little shady. And
I agree.
didn't enjoy
he
that.
was, and Beat 3 Airspace says Ezra just stands there blinking, and I love that they
Yeah.
said that because let's be honest, like, do you realize how much he blinks?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's a thing. Like, look
Listen,
it up.
he can bat those eyes all
He's like
that
he just like
wants.
stands there, just like blinks a lot.
Okay, well, so I think that what's interesting about it is that she seems to be aware that he's not being fully truthful. Like, I felt like she
yeah.
was actually getting that tonight.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like a little bit she's starting to open up and like call him out a little bit more, but she still really hasn't. And I hate that she's just like slowly preparing for this wedding and feeling more distant from Ezra than she ever has.
And I think that that's a sign, like, I want an Ezria wedding more than anybody. Like, let's be honest, like, I do. But if this was real life, and again, we
Yes.
understand that Pretty Little Liars, not real life, you would, I feel like as like you would back away from that relationship. You'd be like,
Absolutely.
I'm making a mistake. I would rather not get married if this is how I'm feeling, or postpone it, or whatever.
I would, because that's kind of really the whole relationship starting to come from like an unhealthy place,
Mm-hmm.
and because Nicole's been introduced back into this world. Ezra does need to take a step back, finish off whatever he needs to with Nicole, and really be 110% committed to Aria, because right now he's kind of wishy-washy. He's saying one thing, maybe meaning another thing. It's at a point now where he's got to figure it out quick, because it's not going to last much longer if he doesn't.
Well, it's like it's unraveling for him. I
Yes.
mean, that's what's.
And was anybody else a little bit bothered about, you know, the dress, her wedding dress, just hanging in the closet? Because I was like, girl, he ain't supposed to see that dress before the wedding.
I mean,
Really?
Yes.
yeah, no, you're definitely
You're
not
not supposed to see the dress?
No.
Guys are not supposed to see the dress, like traditionally.
I thought it was
Yeah,
just that you
it's
were not
bad
supposed to
luck.
see the bride before.
As a multi-time bridesmaid, I can tell you I've had a lot of wedding dresses in my closet.
Wow, no way.
I believe that. You got to hide it. Yeah.
yeah, like that stuff gets, yeah.
Yeah, you can't release pictures. A lot of brides barely even tell their friends. Like, they tell their bridesmaids, and that's, like, about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, on a side note, but yeah, so I was,
I'm learning all kinds of things.
Yeah.
I was surprised to hear that the wedding dress was sitting in the closet.
Yeah.
Also, it made me wonder with AD, like,
Ooh, be careful with that wedding dress.
yeah, like that, you were starting to be able, like, AD seems to be all-knowing, and I'm surprised, do we think that Hannah designed it? Like, I had a lot of questions about the wedding dress.
That is a great question, because Hannah should be the one designing it.
Yeah, right?
If she didn't. I'll be real. Good point.
Hannah should be designing all the wedding gowns in Storybrooke.
Yeah,
In
Storybrooke.
In Rosewood. And she should be designing the funeral dresses too, because there's a lot more funerals than there are weddings.
I just like that it's
Truth.
like straight up designer gowns for funerals.
It is. I still laugh about that too, but that's fine.
Yeah, it's all good. But that brings us to Aria's probably dumbest move I've seen Aria make in a long time, which
Tell me, girl.
so there was, of course, she gets like a FaceTime from an unknown caller, and he tells her to, or someone I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, tells her to go to a specific location. And I was like, do you go to the location where a blocked caller tells you to go?
For real.
I was like, get police, somebody with you at the very least if you're going to go there.
Exactly. To meet somebody who has harmed them.
Yes.
Physically. Gosh, sorry. My mic is intense, guys. Physically harmed them in the past. And
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, I'm just going to go by myself in the night in this alley.
Right, and then she gets in the car. Don't get in cars with strangers. I'm sorry, again, to pull the mom card out, but
Even if it's a limo.
Yeah.
Like I said when watching.
yeah,
Yeah, don't donate your eggs whenever bad things are happening around you.
Right.
And don't get in cars with strangers
right.
who are trying to kill you.
So then we see this. I was so curious as to, was there going to be anyone in the limo? Was it going to be another voice, another piece to the game? Like, what was going to happen in this limo? And of course, we get Sydney as the reveal.
And she said she's AD, but for a sec.
She did at first.
She just knew what the question was.
Well,
Right.
It wasn't that she was like, am I AD? She was like filling in
But
the.
she says AD? Yes.
Yeah, she like implied at the beginning, but then she implies later in that conversation that she's not.
Because Aria sees the earpiece and it kind of throws her off. She's like, oh, well, you figured me out. I'm not AD.
Right.
Yeah.
And clearly AD was the one driving the car, because when Aria goes to like try to drop the screen down, she's like, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
I wanted to do it.
I mean, that was the thing, is that she's so close, and she seemed kind of scared to, at that point.
She did.
Like, I know that maybe it's the dangerous call, but at that point, like, you're that far along into it, like, I would probably be pressing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I did think it's interesting that they're putting Aria in this, like, moral dilemma, if you will,
Right.
of, like, are you going to join the bad side or stay and be tortured with your friends and risk your life and her everything, basically.
I want to see her jump sides just for the heck of it.
Well, I feel like they're giving a little bit viewers what they've wanted or assumed for a
Yeah,
long time
yeah.
a little bit by like having Aria potentially go to the dark side, because one, then it clears up that Aria is definitely not AD. She's not at the root of it all, but it's still fulfilling that kind of desire that everybody's had to see Aria kind of be the bad guy. So I think we're gonna like see her walk the line a little bit.
Right, and in the next episode, we see that she like grabs like a black hoodie out of the locker, and I'm like, girl, you gonna put it on?
Right?
Yeah, I mean, what was interesting in those final few minutes of this episode was that Aria finally learns about Allie's pregnancy, and I guess the egg donor situation, and she thinks it's going to become her turn with this game, and I'm fascinated to see what happens to her when it is her turn, because I feel like there's so much that's like high stakes already in Aria's life. To escalate it with this game is going to be crazy. So I'm assuming that that'll happen in the next few episodes. But next week, I think it's going to be Hannah, it looks like.
Right. And it's only going to happen to Aria if she decides to not be on the dark side. Like her turn was skipped because she said that she would basically join the dark side. So the only
she was,
way
like, deciding, but she was like, okay, like they're gonna give me a break to show me how easy it can be.
Yeah.
So if she decides to not do it, then her turn is going to be probably catastrophic. Gosh, we were on the same page, and I spit on my mic now.
It's going great.
Yes.
But that decision for Aria, because she's always, and we've talked about it on the show before, she's been tortured. Like, I think all of these girls have been treated absolutely terribly on this, but somehow has sometimes gotten a little less torture than some of the others.
Right.
And so if she really turns to the bad side, I hope that it comes full circle for her and that she comes back to the good side. Like, it can't end with Aria joining the bad side, right? Like, that's not where the show is gonna...
Or maybe she's just going behind enemy lines and she's gonna take them down from the other side.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
I mean, we did see her get very, like, detective police officer with Sydney in the last episode. So maybe she's, I don't know.
Oh man, I was so rooting for her to freaking pull down the privacy screen. I'm like, Aria, roll down the partition, please.
Yeah, I'm fine finding out who AD is like now and us just like allowing things to unravel.
Well, I think at this point it would be really interesting to start at least getting clues, and I believe that the audience is going to know for a portion of time before the girls on screen do.
Yes.
Who AD is?
Yeah.
I like
I hope
that.
so.
Yeah, I that's my understanding from
Dig it.
things that I've things that I've read. So, let's jump in and talk about, I think we've talked about the episode pretty thoroughly here, if I'm for not forgetting anything. So let's jump into news and gossip.
Yes. No sound tonight. Just go ahead and go for it.
Yeah.
News and gossip.
We are the sound effect.
We got it. We're good. So Ian Harding, we kind of teased this earlier in the show with that picture of course, our good friend Becca, who went to his book signing tonight.
I really wanted to go.
I mean, it looked amazing. I was actually at that Barnes & Noble at the Grove. It's here in Los Angeles. And they were, like, setting up. It was great. So... but he released his book last week called Odd Birds, and I actually read it over the weekend, and it is just a really fun read if you've been a Pretty Little Liars fan for a really long time. So it kind of gets into, he has a hobby of birding, so he goes out all over Los Angeles and around the country looking at birds and has studied them basically his entire life.
Wow.
It sounds like, which is really interesting. And talks a little bit about his experiences at Carnegie Mellon.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that's where he went.
Yeah, so he went to the drama school there, and that he was a specific animal there, and like to practice acting. And you have to read the book as well, and just meeting Lucy Hale and the audition experience. So it's a really interesting read of how he kind of interweaves his love of birds into like multiple stories about his life.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's definitely a good read. If we don't spill water everywhere.
Lost it today, guys.
But yeah, I would totally recommend checking it out. Just a phenomenal and a super fast read too.
That's cool.
Always nice when that happens.
You know how Keegan, whenever he came out with Life, Love, Beauty, he literally went on or he's still on the book tour, and it went out like so long ago. So I'd love if Ian did another one in LA, so that way we could all go and maybe we could like get a photo and show you guys, or maybe ask him a question or something.
Right.
That'd be
so
awesome.
it's he's the third published author from Pretty Little Liars.
Good for him. That's awesome.
I love that they're like really strong, and Shay's got her YouTube channel. Like, we're starting to see them really grow outside of this like Pretty Little Liars world, and that's always interesting to see.
I dig that.
Yeah, and also if you're a fan of his, you should check out ET Online. Today did a live stream with him before the book signing, and it's fun. It was definitely a great interview by Leanne, and talks about Pretty Little Liars, the book, a little bit about kind of where he thinks Aria and Ezra are going. So another fun thing to check out.
Cool.
And now let's do predictions.
Dig it. Predictions.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Yes. Oh, you cute.
Now, your AfterBuzz TV.
Thanks, man.
So exciting. All right, so next week's episode is directed by Troyan Bellisario.
Dude, I'm so stoked for that.
Happy.
Yeah, I mean, again, showing this, like, growth outside. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously directing the show, but growth outside, jumping into the the side of things.
I think Troyan's just like a boss lady. I really, really do. Like
Yeah.
all the theater stuff that she does, and
Love
you
her.
know, I think she's incredible, and I think she's gonna have a wonderful career, and I can so see her doing directing. So I think that's really, really cool, and I'm stoked to see what she does. Even just the shots in general, like the locker scene with Aria. I'm like, yes, Troyan, yes.
I'm like, yeah, girl.
I mean, it's amazing, and as you said, she's balancing so much.
Yeah.
It's like exciting. We're gonna talk about in the next few weeks here. Are kind of what they're kind of going to do post Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah.
We're getting into a little bit of that news and gossip as well. And also, let us know if you want us to do a more in-depth discussion of Ian's book. We're happy to do that.
I'll read it.
Yeah, we're happy to do a further conversation into that. And you can always, you know, of course, tweet or leave us a comment. We're great at responding at all of that stuff. But what do you think's going to happen next?
You know, there's going to be conversations with Paige about the baby and things like that, and I don't think she's going to take it very well, or maybe she'll be supportive, and then maybe, you know, it's a possibility that Paige and Emily, like, will get married, and they'll just, like, support Allison, and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they said Paige
Like-
and Allie. I was like,
No. No, so that's still a possibility, but I'm still hoping that, you know, Emily and Allison will, and they'll raise that baby together or whatnot, but who knows at this point. I think that... hopefully everything comes around with Mary Drake now that what's-his-butt, Spencer's lover, is like kind of going to be coming full circle and looking back in to it all. But I would really, 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 really love for him to sit down with all of the girls. Like him having this relationship with Spencer and knowing everything that she's going through with Mary Drake and then going in and talking to Allie. I'm like, he's coming at all of these girls in all different directions, but nobody is filling in the dots for any of these detectives ever. No. And I'm like, please get them all in one room and everybody kind of get on the same page. It would be so much easier for them to, I don't know, maybe help the girls.
Yeah, I agree with you entirely. Is that the police need to start putting these puzzle pieces together, and they haven't been able to in season. So I'm not sure why. I think in the final 6 episodes they're going to be able to, but
right.
I want them to. Also, I'm really excited for the return of Ren.
Agreed. He looks handsome in that preview.
Oh my gosh, he's gonna be there next week, and I'm so happy. Which we say next week, are we talking 2 weeks from now?
We are talking 2 weeks. They're taking a week off next week.
Which I don't understand why, and I'm very mad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be calling Freeform right after this.
That's kind of all that I have to predict.
Ooh, okay. M says Allie used to call Lucas Hermie. He was besties with Charles at camp, and Lucas has mentioned that he has a girlfriend before, maybe Cece/Charlotte.
Oh, that's very interesting. That's possible.
What if they like grew up
That's
together?
That's a good little theory.
And then she turned to Cece instead of Charles, and then maybe Lucas fell for her. That would be.
I
very
totally dig
involved.
that.
Somebody
I could see
else
that
says
happening.
Paige will go because she won't be around to see Emily and Allison together for the baby.
Yeah.
The police are useless in every TV show. That's
That's true. But they could utilize them in this show, and they don't.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I love how like okay, I'm. You guys are all for your own relationships to happen. I am full Spoby. I love Spoby so much. I did really like how Yvonne was there for Toby. I loved that relationship. I thought it was good for the time being.
That is so not happening. I'm so sorry for you,
I
but
know,
it's not.
and I know, and I'm okay with that because if they did do it, it would be a lot to throw in.
Oh, yeah.
Last minute.
No chance.
Unless there's
Sorry.
another time gap of some sort, I just don't see that as a
It
possibility.
would be too insensitive if they just did
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
It
it
would.
has to be like, if they did like a year later, which it's been rumored they may, then like you might get it because
Right.
you have a little time. But if they're going in real time here, it's so fast.
Not gonna happen.
I am super excited for the rest of the season. Kristen will be back with us. That's right, in 2 weeks. We'll have to see all of you in 2 weeks as well. But in the meantime, you can find AfterBuzz at AfterBuzz TV, and you can find me at Stephanie Wenger on Twitter, Instagram, and all over the internet.
And what's up, guys? You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Mr. Dakota T. Jones, and my talk show on the Popcorn Talk, Millennial Hollywood, which airs on Friday mornings at 10 a.m.
And I am Hannah Prichard, you all. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at @TheHotShotDude. I also do the 13 Reasons Why after show. We are covering the finale, the last 2 episodes, this Friday. If you guys are fans of that show, check it out. We got some really cool guests coming in.
Yeah, it's really fun. I've
Yeah.
been checking it out as well. So see you all in 2 weeks.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.